Stay over here.
Come on.
Give it up for Jon Gordon!
Let's go. Come on. Woo! Let's go, guys. Let's go, guys. Woo! All right, thank you so much. Have a seat.
Man, make sure we...
So I was at a leadership conference in Dallas. I look over in the front row, and who's sitting there but Zig Ziglar? Couldn't believe it, one of my heroes. I ran over to Zig, I said, Zig, one of the big goals of my life was to meet you. Zig looked at me and said, you need to have bigger goals. Still sharp after all these years, and while I'm speaking, I look over, Zig is taking notes. 82 years old, he was taking notes. Not because I was up there. Anybody could have been up there, he would have been taking notes. He was a lifelong learner, still learning, still growing, still improving, still striving to get better. I want to thank you all for being here, for being humble and hungry, and thankfully not hungover. You guys are here to learn and grow, and I truly appreciate that you're here. This is just such an incredible event. I want to make sure I give a shout out to Daniel over there who's watching right now. Margaret and Elizabeth are over there online. People are watching. It's so great that they're watching. Let's give them a hand, the online audience who is watching us right now. So Ed, a few months ago, came up to me and Ed said, hey, Jon, do you believe in free speech? I said, of course I believe in free speech. It's the foundation of our country. It makes America, America. He said, how many free talks have you given this year? I said, about 12. I believe in giving back, like making a difference, charities, you name it. Ed, he said, Jon, I need you to give one more. Free speech. So here I am. When Ed asks, you say yes. I believe in the power of one more. I also believe in the power of one word. Every year I encourage people to pick their word for the year. One word that will give them meaning and mission, passion and purpose. A few years ago, this manager of a company, he picked the word retirement. I said, no, you're not allowed to pick retirement. That's not gonna be very energizing for you and your company. Maybe for you, but not others. So he changed it to finish. He decided he was gonna finish strong in all that he did. He was gonna finish his career strong. He was gonna finish his life strong in retirement. It changed everything for him. My wife's favorite word that I've ever chosen was serve. She loved the year I served. It was a tough year for me, but she loved that word. This year she said, I think I want your word to be cook. I said, I don't think that's my word for me. But I knew my word was power. Power. Because I had gotten sick towards the end of this year in December, and I didn't have any energy, and I knew I had all these talks coming up. I had a talk January 8th, and I had to just get energy, and I needed a greater power to move through me. And as we talk about the power of one, what I want to talk about today is the power behind the power. Like that power to do one more. Where does it come from to do one more for ourselves? Where does it come from to do one more for others? And there is no greater demonstration of this power than Ed Milet. Would you agree with that? Ed inspires us to do one more. He does one more, and you see him do it, and you see what greatness looks like, and then he inspires that in you to want to do one more. I don't know if you can tell, but Ed inspired me to start lifting. The guy said, are you going to take your jacket off while you speak like Ed? I said, no, I have to do a lot more one-mores before I can do that. But Ed makes us better. He makes us all better. And I've been thinking about that power, and I really believe it begins with our vision and purpose. Like, where are we going? And why are we going there? We all need a vision and purpose for our journey on this road called life. When you know your why, you will know the way. And you won't let obstacles get in the way. And we don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it. What is it that you want to build? What is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to see in your future? What kind of impact do you want to have? It all starts with that vision and purpose. I needed that vision and purpose when I wrote my book, The Energy Bus. It was rejected by over 30 publishers. I was told to give up. Even my agent said get up, but I couldn't give up because I remembered literally being on my hands and knees. I remember being so miserable, so negative. My wife is about to leave me, and I remember saying, God, why am I here? What is my purpose? What am I born to do? And in that moment, writing and speaking came to me. I remember literally being almost bankrupt as we second mortgaged our home, $20,000 in credit cards. We're opening this Moe's Southwest Grill franchise. It was literally the first Moe's in Florida, the fifth Moe's in the entire country. There's now hundreds of Moe's. But I remember doing that, hanging by a thread. And I remember just being on my hands and knees saying, God, provide for me and my family, God, and I will do your work. I will do your work. So when someone says, give a free speech, yes, I will do your work. I am here to make a difference, God. And I remember like chasing success and being so miserable. Finally saying, you know what? I want to make my life about others. I want to serve others. And my mission and vision became, I want to encourage and inspire millions of people, one person at a time. So I kept on hoping, kept on dreaming, kept on thinking about the future. And I'll never forget, John Wiley and Sons agreed to publish this book. I was so excited. It was coming out. 6 months later, I asked a friend, what should I do? He said, pray. So I prayed for it to be a bestseller. It came out, it was a bestseller in Korea. I learned you have to be specific with your prayers. It was like this huge hit in South Korea, not North Korea. But not one bookstore in the United States would carry the book. My publisher was calling me the David Hasselhoff of Korea. That's not a joke, that's a true story. I remember then saying, you know what? No bookstores are carrying this. I gotta go on a 28-city tour paid for by myself. So we identified 28 cities. And I went from city to city sharing the message in the book. And we had 5 people in one city. We had 10 people in another. We had 20 in another. The most we had were 100 people in Des Moines, Iowa. They thought Jeff Gordon was coming, the race car driver. That's why they showed up. I remember I got home. I didn't know what the future held, but it did not look good at the time. My wife was so supportive. You know, you're with the right person when they give you strength, and she was supporting me. And I remember thinking, I just have to live this vision and mission and purpose every single day. And I'll never forget, a friend asked me to give a talk at his resort up in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania. And so I go up there, there's supposed to be 100 people there, and now there is 6 people there. And I remember thinking, okay, John, you said it's about the one. It's about one person at a time. So now you really have an opportunity to make a difference, one person at a time with this 6 people. Betty Palm was there. About 7 years later, Betty Palm became the president of Avon. Betty Palm brought me into Avon to speak to 6,000 people 7 years after that event. The power of one more leads to 6,000. It leads to 6 million. In Ed's case, it's going to lead to the entire world, right? And that is what it's all about. Our vision and purpose. I tell you this story not to look at me, but look at yourself. Where are you going? Why are you going there? When obstacles get in the way, remember that vision. Focus on that purpose. See the road ahead. Telescope and microscope, big picture vision, zoom, focus, action. That is essential. And then on this journey, I truly believe that the power of one more to make a difference in the lives of others, to build great relationships, to lead others. It's all about optimism and belief. We do have to believe in others more than they believe in themselves. And when we do, they accomplish things they never thought possible. Leadership is a transfer of belief. Write that down. Leadership is a transfer of belief. You believe, but does your team believe? You have to convey and transfer that belief to them. And if you don't have it, you can share it. So every day we have to make sure that we are feeding ourselves in order to feed others. And the best advice I ever heard is from Dr. James Gills. He's the only person on the planet that completes 6 double Ironman triathlons. Double Ironman, which means you do an Ironman, a day later do another one, and the last time he did it, he was 59 years old. He was asked how he did it. He said this: I've learned to talk to myself instead of listen to myself. Now, I know Jenna just said you got to listen to yourself. Yes, you have to listen to your feelings. You have to listen to what your heart is telling you. You have to listen to the negative thoughts that are maybe pointing you in the wrong direction. But don't listen to them. Don't let them take hold. Instead, we want to talk to ourselves. And Dr. James Gills would say, when I listen, I hear all the words of discouragement, the negativity, the reasons why I can't finish this race. But if I talk to myself, then I can fuel myself with those words. I can really move myself forward. And that is the key. We must talk to ourselves instead of listen to ourselves. You see, negative thoughts are always coming in. But do your negative thoughts come from you? Right. People often say, yeah, they're in my head. But here's the next question. If you believe your negative thoughts come from you, who would ever choose to have a negative thought? Would you ever choose a negative thought? This blows people's mind. No, I would never choose a negative thought. Would you ever choose a thought that said, you're not enough? You don't have what it takes. The future is hopeless. The relationship is not going to work out. I'm not going to overcome this health diagnosis. No, you would never choose those thoughts. So don't believe the lies that they tell. See, negative thoughts are lies that will tell you things about yourself and your future that just aren't true. The key is we must speak words of encouragement to ourselves. And the word encourage means to put courage into. And so when you encourage yourself, you're putting courage into yourself. When you encourage others, you're putting courage into them. We got to feed ourselves every single day because there is a world of discouragement out there, and we don't give up because it's hard. We give up because we get discouraged. And so every day as a leader, we need to encourage ourselves. We need to encourage others. We need to make sure that we are transferring our belief to our teams, to our colleagues, to our friends, and to others so that they can create more, do more, and ultimately become more. And we must do this in the face of negativity, in the face of challenges, in the face of adversity. So my family and I, we were flying from Jacksonville, Florida, where we live, going to Maine, first time ever going to Maine, connecting in the Philadelphia airport. We arrived an hour and a half late for our connecting flight. And we landed in Terminal A, and we're leaving from Terminal F. And I know in Philly you have to connect at C16, which is really far from A. You get to C16, you have to take a bus shuttle, which then takes you to F. I looked at the screen, we have 10 minutes to make our connecting flight. I'm thinking, there's no way we're gonna make it, but we have to go for it. I look at my wife and kids, children were 8 and 10 at the time. I said, all right, guys, let's start running. So they were now running through the airport. Those who travel recently, have you noticed more people running through airports? Perhaps here. I bet on the way home, you'll see people running through airports. Next time you see someone do that, I wanna encourage you to do what I do. Cheer them on. The other day, this woman was running by me in the Atlanta airport. I said, go, 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 I believe in you. You can do it. She was really struggling as she ran by. She was like this. She was not taking care of her health at all. But that's okay, right? That's okay. I was giving her the thumbs up, like Ray, she was giving me the thumbs up. I don't always get that response. I was in LaGuardia, New York. I cheered this guy on. He gave me the finger. It's all right, I turned a negative into a positive. I said, that's right, you're number one. And now we can all do one more. Say it with me, one more. One more. Yes. So I want you to do that when you see someone run by you at an airport. So that was us now. We are running, we are huffing, we are puffing, we are doing our best. Finally, we get to C16. There are no bus shuttles there. Looked at the watch, 5 minutes to make our connecting flight. There's a woman who's in charge of all the buses. I said, how long did the buses get here? She said 4 minutes. So my kids start crying. We're not gonna make it, we're not gonna make it. I turned to them, I said, guys, you have to stay positive. You have to believe, I'm telling you, we're gonna make it. I turned to the woman, I said, we're gonna make it, right? She said, you ain't gonna make it. I call those people energy vampires. Bus comes, we get on the bus, we get to Terminal F, 1 minute to make our connecting flight. It's the last gate. We are sprinting down Terminal F as fast as we can. I have to admit, I left my wife, the kids in the dust. I was getting on that plane with or without them. And just as I arrived, guess what happened? What do you think happened? They slammed the door right in my face. I said, man, my wife and kids, they're in their way thinking that would help. She said, I'm sorry, sir, there's nothing I can do. I said, you don't understand, we have all these plans. The other flights, are not gonna take off. It will ruin everything. We have to get on this plane. She said, I'm sorry, so the plane is pushing back. Look, my wife and kids arrived in that moment. We walked to the big window and we saw the plane and it was pushing back. And as we're watching this plane push back, we realized that we could see into the cockpit. We realized that we could see the pilots. We realized that the pilots could see us. We make eye contact. So my wife and kids start jumping up and down, waving to the pilots. About a minute later, the door opened, a woman came out and she said, it worked. They're gonna let you on the plane. We walked down the stairs on the tarmac. They stopped the plane. The passengers were not very positive. We took off, we landed. Another miracle occurred, our luggage made it too. A true miracle in Philadelphia. So we're driving away in the rental car. I think, okay, great teachable moment for my kids. I said, so what'd you learn from this experience? I think they're gonna say, Dad, I learned to stay positive. I learned to believe. My 8-year-old son said, Dad, I learned to just keep running. When he said that, I said to my wife, there's a lot of truth to that. So often, the key is that we just keep running. We stay positive, and we never give up. Life is not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a series of sprints combined with a boxing match. We know it. We're not just running, but we're getting hit along the way. And here's the key. Our optimism is a competitive advantage. Our belief, our positivity, are game changers in our leadership and in our relationships and in the lives of others. And we have to do it in the face of negativity. I remember telling my dad, who's a New York City police officer, Dad, I found my calling. Dad, I found my calling. I want to be a writer and speaker, Dad. My dad said, what the heck do you want to do that for? That's a load of junk. That won't amount to anything. He used other words. And my dad was a really loving man, one of the most loving guys on the planet, but just one of the most negative guys on the planet. He didn't share my vision. He had the gift of discouragement. A couple years later, I get on the Today Show. First time on national television. I am terrified to be on national television. I get to the green room, and they sat me next to Queen Latifah. She was awesome. We had this great conversation. She encouraged me. I went out there to coach several people for enhancing their energy and their optimism for their work. And as I walked out of the studio, who called me on the phone but my dad? He's like, your mother, I just saw you on TV. You really made a difference. We're so proud of you. We always knew you could do it. Here's another key rule. Your positive energy must be greater than all the negativity. Your certainty, your belief, and your faith must be greater than all the doubt. Gandhi said, I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet, and neither should you. We have to be more positive on this journey, and that optimism, that belief transforms lives, right? And we transfer that belief to others, and it makes a huge impact. And that brings us to 3 words that ultimately define this power of one more, the desire to serve, to make a difference, to love, to care, and it begins with love. Like if you don't love it, you will never be great at it. We have to love what we do, and when we love others, we will be truly great in their eyes. It's about the love that we have. Pavarotti, the famous opera singer, everyone talked about his incredible discipline for his craft. He said, everyone thinks it's discipline. It's not discipline. He said it's devotion. He was so devoted to his craft, it drove his discipline. When you love something and you're devoted to it, discipline is easy, am I right? So bring that love and devotion to what you do. It will drive your discipline. No one has to tell Tom Brady to go work out. He has a love and devotion to getting better. And your love and devotion will drive your discipline. People always ask me, John, do you have a accountability partner on the road, like for your marriage and so forth? I said, no, I am devoted to my wife. I love my wife. That drives my discipline. I'm also scared of her, but that love and devotion drives everything. And here's the other key. Love casts out fear. And that's a really important principle, because fear is the number one thing that keeps us from our destiny, from our vision, from our goal. And so love casts out fear. It is more powerful than fear. So anytime you start to get fearful, just focus on the love that you have for what you're doing. Love competing, if you're an athlete. Love performing. Love making a difference. Love serving others. Focus on the love of the process, and you will love what the process produces. It's all about the love. And because we love, we then serve. And when I think of serve, I do think of my mom. And I remember visiting my mom in South Florida, and my mom was an Energizer bunny, walking machine. We always walked together and would talk, and we're taking this walk. And as we're walking, I could tell my mom got tired, and my mom never got tired. I said, Mom, let's turn back. She said, no, I want to go to the grocery store. I want to get you some stuff to make you a sandwich for your drive home. My mom was from Long Island, New York. I grew up in a Jewish Italian family, a lot of food, a lot of guilt. She was all about food is love. We got the stuff, made our way back. The first thing she did was make me a sandwich when we got back to her place. I didn't think much about the sandwich at the time. I didn't think much about the sandwich when I ate it on my drive home. But I think about that sandwich all the time. When Ed was talking about his dad, I got really emotional, because that was the last time I saw my mom alive, fully conscious. I remember heading down there. No one told us how bad it was. She didn't tell us how bad it was. She kept it from us. I get down there, and I really got to interact with her a little bit, but it wasn't her. She was already gone. And I was there when she took her last breath. And I remember that like it was yesterday. But my mom taught me the power of serving, because that sandwich shows that it's not about the big things. It's about doing the little things with a big dose of selfless love. She taught me that you leave a legacy by serving others. And you don't have to be great to serve, but you have to serve to be great. And she was a realtor. And so when I visited and went down for her funeral, all of her clients came up to me and told me all the stories of what my mom did to serve them. She was the Jewish mom, right? So she made them food, and she watched their houses and walked their dogs and set people up on dates. Like, she was taking care of everyone. So of course she was number one in her company. She served. And you know what? She cared. And that's the last word, care. I want to finish by talking about caring, because caring really is a success strategy. We don't think about it that way, but it is. Because when you care, you stand out in a world where most don't seem to care anymore. And so when you care, you truly stand out. There's a difference between a carpenter and a craftsman or a craftswoman. A carpenter shows up to build something, but a craftswoman, they're there to create a work of art. They're there to create a masterpiece. And I remember being in a locker room of a Major League Baseball team, the Los Angeles Dodgers, worked with them for a number of years, worked with the Rams, the Miami Heat. It's not going so well, but I work with a lot of these teams. And I remember being in the locker room, and I asked them this question. How many of you believe you can work harder than you already are? Every guy raised their hand. The manager and coaches are like, what? We're paying you millions of dollars, and you can work harder? So what's the next question? Why aren't you? And we discussed it. To work harder, you have to care more. See, if you care more, you will do more, give more, and become more. And guess what? We're all here because Ed Milet cares more. Am I right? I'm telling you, like, you get to spend time with him, and we really have become great friends this past year, and his heart and his soul and the way he loves people and serves people and cares about people has been so inspiring. He came off his talk, back there, and I literally went up to, and I was weeping. I haven't cried in 5 years. I haven't cried in like 5 years since my dad passed away. So both my mom and dad are both gone. I missed them terribly. And literally I wept. And you know what? Ed's care is so amazing. And I know it's his superpower. He has a lot of gifts. He plays them down. He has a ton of gifts. But his total superpower is he truly cares about everyone and everything. Come on, would you agree with that? Let's give him a hand. Come on. He's literally, think about that. He's donating all his proceeds from this book today to help the victims in Texas. Who does that? right? He's doing that because he truly cares, because he loves others, because from his heart, that's what it's all about. He doesn't need this. He doesn't need the money from this book. He wrote the book because he truly cares about people, and it's why he's so successful. So what does that mean for you? How can you care more? What does one more mean for you, right? What does it look like in your relationships to do one more? What does it look like in your leadership to do one more? What does it look like for your colleagues, your customers to do one more? What does that look like? And then let's take action, because if you don't take action, all these are just words, and words have no power without action in it, right? And so that word that we have gives life to the power we live through action. Are you with me on that? So let us take action and let us care more. Raise your hands in the air, both hands, put them up in the air. At home, do it too. Online, I can see you. I love it. Online, I see everyone doing it. All right, everyone put their hands in the air. Now, go a little bit higher. Go as high as you can go. One more. See, we all went a little bit higher. Think about this when you leave this amazing event, when you read this amazing book. Think about this. How can I do one more? How can I reach just a little bit higher? How can I give my life away to make a difference in the lives of others? When you do that, then you will leave a legacy. We started with one word. I want to finish with one word, and it is Meraki. Meraki. M-E-R-A-K-I, Meraki. It sounds like it's a Japanese word, but it's actually a Greek word. It means to do something with love, with soul, with creativity. It means to leave a piece of yourself in your work. And it means to leave something behind. Let's put our love and our soul into our work. Let's make an impact in the lives of others. And let's leave something behind. I'm going to my coach's funeral next week. This is a coach who coached me when I was 18 years old. He came into my life and he believed in me. He did everything we talked about here. He literally showed up in my high school when I'm 18, and now I played for him for 4 years. And it wasn't just those 4 years. It was the rest of my life that he showed up. When I was 22, I graduated college. I'm waiting tables. He showed up and came to see me. When I opened up a bar in Buckhead later on in my 20s, he came to see me at my bar. When I got married to my wife, he came and visited my family and met Catherine. When I was speaking literally just a few years ago, he's 80-something years old. I'm in my late 40s, and he still came to see me. He showed up all these years later. There he was. Both my parents were gone, and I just missed him so much. And there was Coach, right? That's my family. He's right there, and he showed up. And I had a choice. I had a speaking engagement on the day of his funeral next week. And I was torn. Do I go and demonstrate my commitment to the client? But what about my coach who showed up every single day? Like, what do? I talked to the organizers. I talked to them, and they understood. I knew that I had to be there for them. I knew I had to be there for his family, for my teammates, and for my coach. Our last conversation, you know what he said to me? John, teammates are forever. I said, so are coaches who have a transformative effect in your life. So are coaches who love, serve, and care. And they believe with optimism. And they coach and live with a vision and purpose. And they change lives. So guess what? I'm going there next week. And I'm going to show up for him the way Ed showed up for us and the way you all showed up for Ed. God bless you guys.
Give it up for Jon Gordon!
Yes, thank you. Love you, brother.
Love you, bro.